Some parents of autistic children blame childhood vaccines. You may remember 9-year-old Hannah Poling. Recently, the government's so-called vaccine court conceded her family's claim that vaccines may have helped trigger Hannah's autism. Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is back with more on that debate on this Autism Awareness Day. Sanjay?
Don, thank you. We are here with Dr. John Poling. He is, first of all, he's a neurologist. He's also the father of Hannah Poling, as you just mentioned. Her case of autism diagnosis was conceded by the federal government as having been contributed to by vaccines. That was a pretty startling thing, I think, for a lot of people to hear. We talked to a lot of experts about this. They say, look, vaccines in no way cause autism. You're a neurologist. You're also the father of Hannah. What do you say?
Well, I think you bring up a really important point, is that the government, actually the Department of Health and Human Services, conceded that my daughter's medical problems, which are autism, encephalopathy, seizures, were brought on by vaccination. You know,
that's startling, I think, for a lot of people to hear that, because we've been taught for so long. You're a doctor, I'm a doctor. We go to medical school, we hear this, vaccines, obviously. There's so many good things about vaccines. They prevent, you know, life-threatening illnesses that we've heard about. But in your daughter's case, it turned out to be a problem.
I wouldn't have believed it till it happened to me. To be honest with you, as a doctor, until it happened to me, until I saw the regression, until I saw a normal 18-month-old toddler descend into autism, I wouldn't have believed it was possible.
The experts that I've talked to, including the head of the director of the CDC, Dr. Julie Gerberding, says that was a rare case. That is not likely to be the norm, or even that's likely to be an exception. What do you say to that?
Well, I think a lot of the media outlets have put out a statement that says rare underlying genetic mitochondrial disease. Now, that's 5 words. 4 of those are not accurate in the sense that we know now, we didn't know back in 2001 that mitochondrial dysfunction is rare, you know, actually not rare. 2, we don't know if it was underlying or if it was something that developed later, although certainly there's some genetic underpinnings to it. And the only word correct is mitochondrial, and the difference between disease and dysfunction, which we talked about.
Right. So what you believe is that did Hannah have some sort of predisposition, and then the vaccines tipped her over the edge into developing autism? What is your belief now? Well,
I don't think that vaccines are the only way that you can tip over a child like Hannah to regress and have an encephalopathy and have regress into autism. There are probably multiple triggers. In my daughter, clearly it was the vaccinations. That was our experience. As far as other families' experiences, it may be different. The other cases that were at Johns Hopkins, there were you know, only a few like Hannah, and then others regressed for other reasons. It's not really a known entity.
You know, I think the thing that a lot of parents, and I have to tell you, as a doctor, now as a parent too, as you know, I have 2 daughters, so I have a 2.5-year-old and a 13-month-old. What does that mean for me, John? I mean, because, you know, I think they're perfectly normal. I mean, they seem to me to be, and they're delightful, and I plan on getting them vaccinated. I got my 2.5-year-old vaccinated on time. What advice would you have now, having gone through what you've gone through?
Well, first and foremost, I am pro-vaccine. I'm in favor of safe vaccination. I'm the last person that wants to see measles or polio come back. I had one of the only cases last year of West Nile-induced polio here in Georgia, and it's devastating. I think what a parent needs to do now is talk with their pediatrician, and pediatricians need to actually have a grassroots movement amongst the pediatricians and the AAP to develop safe vaccine schedules for each individual patient. I mean, you and I are physicians, and we took an oath to our individual patient. We didn't take an oath for the public health or the greater good. So each pediatrician has to focus on that.
All right. Well, Dr. John Poling, you're going to be joining us a lot throughout the day today. I appreciate this. This is an issue we're going to keep on, as you know. And Don and Brianna, you know, we're investigating this all day long, obviously. Toss it back to you now. We'll keep talking. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm hearing he's going to be on Larry King tonight, Sanjay.
That's right. You're going to be on Larry King and with a few other guests as well. So
yes.
We'll look forward to that.
I should point out, too, Hannah's godfather is a pediatrician, and I trust these folks are going to look at this issue and develop a safe protocol for us.
Well, a lot of parents paying attention to what you're saying right now, so thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, Dr. Poling, and also our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Larry King, of course, airs tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern here on CNN, and with all the conflicting data out there, how can you tell whether your child may be autistic? Our medical correspondent, Elizabeth Cohen, joins us next hour with a test for parents. And you can read more about autism online at CNN.com and share your personal stories with an iReport. You can learn more about this mysterious illness, and we have a virtual resource center for those with autism. Just log on to CNN.com/autism.
Look.
We don't know what causes autism. I mean, that's fair to say. We're not sure as a scientific community what causes autism, but we know that vaccines do not.
Right.
And I think it's just important to say that as succinctly as I just did, and not to say, look, I'm going to delay the vaccines. You hear doctors coming out and saying, you know, it's okay, let the parents choose. Of course, I'm a parent. I have 3 kids. I made that choice. I got them vaccinated on schedule, on time, to protect their health and to protect the health of the people around them. I also want to show you one other thing here, and this is a little bit of a nuanced point, this other graphic I have, looking at the way that we used to vaccinate in the past, how we vaccinate now, and look at how autism rates have sort of changed since that time. If we can put that graphic up. But basically, it's showing that in the past, look back there in the 1960s, we gave a lot more in terms of vaccine load to kids' bodies. Look at 3,500 times more. And then at some point, sort of in the late 90s, we started to give lower doses of vaccines to try and get the same results. But here's my point. Throughout that time, autism rates continued to go up. So despite the fact that the vaccines themselves have gone down in terms of amount, autism rates have gone up. So there really is no link. So one could make the argument that vaccines have actually been protective against autism. So it's really, there's nothing there. And I worry about that as a father, and I gave my kids vaccines. I think that's really important.